so we can all be quiet and peaceable and listen to the music.
It's time to turn off that, and it's time to turn up the volume and listen to Auto Dealer Live.
Repeat after me.
Auto Dealer Live.
Welcome. It's that time again. Yes, it is. It's time for Auto Dealer Live. I'm Dave Villa. I'm your host, and I am I say this all the time, but I'm not just using it as a token saying, Martin. I'm fired up, man. I am just like literally right now. I don't think I've stopped. I woke up this morning, and I have kids, and I take my youngest daughter to school. I mean, that's priority, man. My family. If you're listening, look, family's priority. You know what profit a man that gain the whole world, lose his soul. I don't want to lose my soul. I want to get all I can get, but I want to do it with some integrity. And I'm gonna tell you something. I took my daughter to school, and I got it this morning, man. Just went, and I have not stopped, bro. And I love it that way. I'm fired up. After work, I'm gonna take her to soccer practice. I'm gonna stand there. I mean, I'm just juiced up. I don't know about you. Are you fired up, man?
I am fired up.
Listen, if you're not fired up, if you're not fired up, just tell me because I could fire you up, okay, buddy? Because I am literally. If you get close to me, you might just literally catch on fire.
Spontaneous combust.
Not spontaneous combust. You got to literally set. Don't get me started. You got to set yourself on fire, bro.
Yeah, that's right.
Man, what an awesome start to the month. It's the 10th of the month, October, Rocktober, and we are rocking. We literally last week. Tuesday was the first day of the month. This is just a little bit about what we're doing here. And we did $200,000 in, I'm not talking like in contract business. I'm talking like in last Tuesday to Friday business that's paid already. Almost $250,000 in 4 days.
Oh, yeah.
And you know what? What I'm saying by that is this. My guys closed strong. September, they just blew it out of the box, but they didn't stop. Listen, here's the deal. When you close strong, when you get momentum, we've been talking about momentum, and we're going to bring our guest on in a few minutes, but I want to start by talking about momentum. When you get momentum going, man, let me tell you something. You can't stop it. Momentum is designed to just kind of ball you up. I'm thinking of a little snowball, when you just roll it down the hill and it just gains momentum and gains size. It just wraps up everything inside of itself, anything in its path. That's what momentum will do. So I'm encouraging you, man. You gotta be fired up. You gotta gain momentum, and
momentum builds passion.
Huh?
Passion from your team impact.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you, man.
They go hand in hand.
Thank you for the plug. Thank you for the plug. You're right, though. But I guess what I'm saying is October is just off to a wonderful start. We got some great things coming up. Today on the show, we have, I am so excited about our guest today. David Martin is the president and co-founder of the Marquee Group. David is a trainer, and he's a trainer, and we're going to get into a formal introduction here in a little bit. I'm excited to have David on the show. I'm excited about what the questions we've received. We've had a lot of dealers that have responded, and just a lot of great things going on. Something I'm going to ask. We got a producer in the room, but also got one of our directors and marketing manager, Jason. If you run out of the studio real quick and grab me, I know I didn't tell you this. Grab one of those. Grab one of Cardone's books packages. I think grab one of Cardone's packages, the book. I want to go over it real quick on there. But in a minute, we had a great response last week while he's getting that on Fire and Ice. We had Curtis Smith from the K-Method Group, and we had Bobby Collins, general manager, Coconut Point Ford. Listen, these guys love each other. These guys, are friends, and afterwards are going to shake hands. But I'm going to tell you, man, what a wonderful segment. We had such a great response. So much so, listen to me. You don't want to miss next week's show. We have a special segment of Fire and Ice. We have a couple of guys. We have some debates that have been going on. It was a few over the weekend, and it spilled into the beginning of the week on just old school, new school, just car guys versus some technology guys. All car guys, all great guys, and you know what? All right in their own respects. And we invited them on the show next week, and they've agreed. We've got like 4 car guys that are going to be on the show. We got 2 or 3 guys that are going to come from the technology world. They're going to bring in some ideas. Some of them they disagree on. Some of them they agree on. All together, they both want to succeed and sell cars. We've got these guys coming on our show next week. I'm so excited about this show. And it's going to be another segment of Fire and Ice. And they're going to be here. If you give me that real quick. Thank you, Jason. They're going to be here next on the air next week. And they're going to have the show. We're going to let them just go at it. We're going to let them just talk and debate one another. So excited about that. Really quick, before we move on to break, October 31st. Now, I want you to listen. I want you to get a pen, or you do whatever you got to do, and you mark your calendars for 3:30 Eastern Standard Time, October the 31st, Halloween Day. We have the one and only Grant Cardone that's going to be joining us on the show. One and only Grant Cardone, and we've already purchased about 20, I think, packages of Grant's book, Sell to Survive, along with the audio component and package that goes along with it. Grant has signed them, hand-signed every one of them, and we have them. We're going to be giving them away on the show to listeners that call in, so make sure you mark your calendar down. Listen, this is
And we'll have more information of that as it comes up on Twitter. If you follow us at Auto Dealer Live. Got a new Twitter account for Auto Dealer Live. Our show has its own account now.
Awesome, man. It was about time, brother. Good job.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of that, man, before we go and get to break here, Martin, what's trending, baby?
No end in sight for gas price freefall. Sure, the federal government has been shut down for more than a week, but look on the bright side. Gas is cheap right now and is only expected to get cheaper. By every measure, day, week, month, and year, in every U.S. state and the District of Columbia, prices at the pump have fallen, and today's national average stands at $3.35 per gallon. That's 47 cents less than a year ago. Report, Land Rover ending Defender production after 67 years. Great Britain's original off-roader will be ending production in 2015, 67 years after it started rolling out of factories. Hemming's find of the day, a 1964 Oldsmobile Dynamic 88 convertible. When it comes to early 60s convertibles, few are as underappreciated as those manufactured by Oldsmobile. Stylistically, the 1964 88 Oldsmobile was during the gap between the big fin era and the hunkered down, flared fender, and spoiler-bedecked muscle car years. Now, Chrysler keeps it classy with Anchorman ad campaign.
Yeah.
Chrysler keeps it classy with Anchorman ad campaign. According to the Detroit News, Chrysler Group LLC is breaking new ground with its latest advertising campaign, a co-promotion deal with Paramount Pictures starring comedian Will Ferrell as America's favorite Anchorman. I'm Ron Burgundy, and that's the news.
That's what's trending, baby. Thank you, Martin. Awesome. I can't wait till Anchorman comes out, brother. I'm fired about that. It's going to be an awesome show, awesome movie. That first one was amazing. So moving along here, we're going to bring Dave Martin on in just a little bit. We're going to take a break in a second. I want you to check out his commercial. We got a nice commercial from the Marquee Group. And don't forget, October 31st, Grant Cardone. Next week, Fire and Ice. We got some great things going on. We got a bunch of car guys that are going to be on the show. You want to tweet us, hashtag Auto Dealer Live. At Auto Dealer Live is our new handle for the show. And you can tweet us at hashtag Auto Dealer Live. The phone number, if you want to call in, you have any questions, is area code 813-476-4235. We'd love to have you call in, ask a question, 813-476-4235. This week's show, the theme is Training Day. All right, the theme is Training Day. So I want you to hold that right in your holder as we take this break, and we'll be right back with Dave Martin. Stay tuned. This is all.
Hi, I'm David Martin, president of the Marquee Group. My partner, Richard Keeney, and I started Marquee 17 years ago, and it has grown into an international training company that has served over 4,600 dealer clients worldwide. We've had the privilege of speaking at 7 NADA conventions, various 20 groups, and state associations, and I'm happy to say that I'm speaking again at next year's NADA in New Orleans. I hope you'll join me. The Marquee Group has a full range of automotive training products for sales, sales management, F&I, service advisors, receptionists, and more. We do in-dealership training and have DVDs, CDs, and an online training program called eautotraining.com, which has over 450 videos, role-play scenarios, testing, and printable course material to enhance the learning experience and provide accountability. To learn more about the Marquis Group and how we can help your dealership, please call 888-300-4629 or visit our website at www.marquisgroup.com. That's www.markeegroup.com.
You must do what you feel is right, of course.
You gonna learn today?
So where's the office, back at Division? Yeah, in the office, baby. Going up.
And we're back live on Auto Dealer Live. This is David Villa, your host, and I'm excited about our next guest. This is someone that I followed and has some outstanding, just some incredible, Martin, training material. And we have him on the phone here. Let me do a little introduction here. This is a president and co-founder of the Marquis Group. David has spoken at NADA 8 times, so you dealers need to take note. This is somebody who knows his stuff. Over 4,000 clients worldwide thriving off of his methods. Just got back from Australia, where he delivered his Accountability for All presentation at the Australian Auto Dealers Association. Listen, if you're not following what's going on international with the auto business, and you are missing, if you think it's just here in the States, then you're sadly mistaken. So I'm happy and privileged and honored to have on the phone with us as our guest today, Mr. David Martin. David, are you with us?
I certainly am. How are you?
I'm wonderful. I do appreciate your time, and I know you're a busy guy, and I appreciate you coming on the show today.
That's my pleasure.
Well, I want to jump right to it because I want to give you as much time to share with our guests as possible. David,
Okay.
Tell us a little bit about who you are first and your background in the auto industry.
Well, I started as so many people did, selling cars. Had a little bit of success there, and then moved my way through the normal management ranks, as most of us do. And somewhere along the line, I became the director of training for a good-sized dealer group. Mm-hmm. And David, that's where I fell in love with training. It just I realized that I gained more from that. I derived more self-satisfaction. I felt better about myself than anything else I had done. Mm-hmm. And so about a little over 17 years ago, my partner, Richard Keeney, and I decided that we would throw our hat in the training ring, so to speak, and we started the Marquis Group. And it's been a fun ride ever since then.
Wow. Now, if I understand correctly, if I was reading up on you, you've been in the business now for quite some time. Is it 30 years in the car business? Or
let's just say that, I don't want to date myself, but
right.
Let's just say that I've been in retail sales management training for 40 years this year, and we'll just let it go at that. How's that?
Congratulations! I know you've I know that just looking into your background, you've held pretty much every position at a dealership during your retail career as well.
Well, it's one of those things. I've spent most of my time in variable sales. Obviously, I know a bit about the service end of it as well. But if I have a specialty, it'd be in the variable end.
Okay. I tell you, David, I talked to a lot of trainers, and we've got some good ones out there. But I tell you, I hold a special place and special respect, and I know dealers do as well. One of the first things I'm asked by car dealers all the time when it comes to training is, have you sold cars? And I think that the fact that you have actual firsthand experience and not just, theoretical book knowledge, I think that carries a huge weight there.
Yeah, it's amazing, Dave. I've probably been asked literally, not just figuratively, but literally hundreds of times that very question, have you sold cars? And then, of course, after I stop laughing, I go, yes. I have nothing against somebody who is selling computers one day and decides they want to explain to us how to sell cars the next.
Right.
I just don't think it quite resonates with dealers and certainly not with other salespeople.
Absolutely. Well, also, one of the things that I know is, I guess you're infamous for or famous for here is, your directness. And I think, again, that's probably what's missing. And from what I see in the dealers that I've read about that have used your training and use your training, the respect they have for you is, I think your directness. And I want you to tell me about this, and tell me if this is just a fable or maybe something that's a little exaggerated. But I heard that at an NADA conference, you were presenting one time that I guess somebody continued to interrupt you. Do you know the story I'm talking about?
Yes, I do.
Tell us a little bit about that. I heard you knew how to handle the situation pretty well.
Well, I'm not sure if I handled it. I guess you'd have to ask this gentleman, and I'm kind of hoping he's not listening to us today. But if he is, he'll just have to have a good sense of humor.
Right.
I was doing a presentation at the NADA. I forget which one, New Orleans, maybe back several years ago. Anyway, the name of the talk was Sales Meetings That Motivate and Educate. I've just always been a big proponent of not just sales meetings. Almost every dealership has sales meetings, but sales meetings that actually mean something. Salespeople can derive something out of them. Unfortunately, too many, at least in my experience, too many sales meetings ultimately become depression sessions. It's when an angry manager says, all right, everybody get up to the training room, we're going to have a meeting, and then they start lambasting the salespeople about this, that, and the other. I'm not pointing fingers. I've been a sales manager. I know how tough the job is.
Sure.
But at that particular moment, if you just spent the last 15 or 20 minutes fussing at them about all the things they did wrong, and then say, okay, now let's get out and sell cars,
right.
Well, that's just not going to work. So the idea was I was giving the audience some ideas on having motivating educational sales meetings so that they can be productive. Well, at the beginning of every presentation, I don't care if I'm speaking in Australia or New Zealand or the UK or at NADA, everybody who introduces you always says the speaker will reserve the last 5, 10, 15 minutes, whatever, for questions.
Right.
So please hold your questions. Because of that, what happened had never happened to me before. Hasn't happened since either. But I was sitting there, I was probably halfway through my presentation when there was a gentleman in the front row that all of a sudden just raised his hand. And I got to tell you, Dave, I wasn't sure what to do because, as I said, 30 minutes before, they'd said, hold your questions, and he wasn't.
Right.
But I figured, well, what the heck? And so I said, yes, sir. And he said, let me ask you a question. He said, what do you think about role play?
Wow.
I said, well, I think that if it's done correctly, it's a fantastic training tool. And he said, then why do you think my salespeople don't like to do it?
Wow.
And I thought to myself, oh, come on, you know the answer to that. So I decided to turn it around on him. I said, well, I'm not sure, sir. Why do you think they don't want to do it? And he said, well, probably because they're afraid of looking foolish. And of course, I'm thinking, duh.
Right.
But instead, I had this little devil kind of jump in my ear, and I thought, well, this could be fun. And I said, I'll tell you what, sir, that is such an important concept, an important question you've asked. Why don't you come up on stage with me, and you and I are going to show the audience how to role play.
Oh, wow.
Now, I've got 200-300 dealers and managers in the audience, and they start laughing a little bit, and this guy's turning red, and he goes, no, I don't need to do that. I said, come on, it'll be a lot of fun. It'll be educational for everybody. And he went, no, I don't need to do that. Well, everybody's just dying laughing now, but I thought, wait a minute now, come on. So I kind of looked up at the audience and said, I'll tell you what, let me have them volunteer. Anybody. And not one hand went up.
Wow.
The reason why I tell the story sometimes is because I truly believe role play is a fantastic opportunity to learn, but I think we do it incorrectly. But there I was with 200 or 300 dealers and managers, probably average 20, 30 years experience in the business, more confidence than it would take to move the moon, but I couldn't get one of them to come on stage with me. And so if they don't want to do it for fear of looking foolish in front of their peers, how do you think your salespeople want to do it? I mean, it doesn't make sense. So to me, there's a right way and a wrong way to do role play, and it's something I just feel very strongly about.
That's a great story. So in an industry, and that's good for the guys that are listening. So in an industry where you have a lot of confidence, and basically it kind of goes into the theory of do as I say, not as I do. And, we both know that doesn't fly. Well, let me ask you this. Why role play? I mean, you said role play. I want to ask you that, kind of just camp there for a moment. I mean, role play, you said, is important. Why role play? What's the best way to role play? And maybe elaborate a little bit on that. I think that's actually an interesting point.
Sure. Oh, the why role play, I don't think very few people, let's put it that way, very few people would suggest that role play doesn't have value. When somebody has the chance to practice, if you will, and in our business, as you well know, we equate what we do all the time with sports analogies. You know, I've heard people say over and over, you know, the New Orleans Saints wouldn't just show up on Sundays and play a game. No, of course not. They're going to practice. That's their version of our role play is practice. So the why is pretty easy, but how to do it, that's the thing that really throws people off a little bit. I'll give an example. I'll give you two specifics that, in my opinion anyway, are two of the most effective ways to do role play. The first one is this. If the sales manager, whoever is in charge of the sales meeting or the sales team, if he'll gather the troops on, let's say, a Monday morning, and he says, okay, ladies and gentlemen, here's what we're going to do. On Friday morning, we're going to do role play. Now, of course, everybody's going to roll their eyes or groan or whatever, and you go, no, okay, hold on, we're going to role play. No exceptions. No one's going to get out of it, okay? So it's not like I'm going to pick on anybody. Here's what we're going to role play on, and then the sales manager is going to pick out whatever it is. Maybe it's how to overcome a specific objection or something like that. But by giving them, on a Monday, by giving them the heads up that on Friday they're actually going to be called to do this, what do you think that most sane salespeople will do between Monday and Friday? They're going to practice.
Sure.
I mean, they're going to run over it in their head. They're going to do it with their wives or specific others. They'll grab another fellow salesperson and say, "Hey, man, I got a few minutes. How about you?" But come Friday, if they know there's no exceptions, they're going to be up in front of the rest of the group role playing. Most of them are going to be prepared for it. So that's the first benefit. The second, though, is that if I was a sales manager in the business today, what I would do is I would then pair them up on Monday and say, I want each of you to get a role play partner. Because now, in between Monday and Friday, you've got somebody to actually practice with. And it's much easier to role play with one other specific individual who then has to turn around and role play with you because some of the fear factor is out of it. If I stand up in front of a group of 12 other salespeople and I have to role play, I'm a little nervous. I'm a little embarrassed. If it's just you and me, Dave, and even if I stub my toe and screw up, you're not going to laugh at me too badly because you're about to do it. You know, and you know what they say about payback. So it's a real good way, and that way on Friday, instead of the typical situation where a manager just without any advanced notice at all just grabs somebody and says, Jimmy, the customer just says, I want to think about it. What do you say? And then the poor guy goes, what do you want to think about? And of course, that's not what you want to say. But at that moment, having not thought of it, not being a real situation, no preparation at all, sometimes they just go blank. But they don't do that if they've rehearsed it probably 25 or 30 times in their mind in the 4 days between Monday and Friday. And that way, regardless of how the actual role play goes on Friday, the preparation means that from that time forward, that's probably one objection that nobody in the dealership has to worry about anymore. So that's the first way I would role play. The second way, and this is a real pet peeve of mine, is I've had 100 people say, why do salespeople fail? And I don't know that I'm gifted enough or smart enough to know, but in my opinion, it's one of three things. Either they don't know what to say, they don't know how to say it, or someone interferes with their willingness or ability to do whatever it is you want them to do. And it's one of those things that I see it all the time. It's the difference between what we call theoretical training and practical, firsthand, real life, real world training. The theoretical is what takes place in the classroom, and we have to have it. You have to have theoretical training. There's not enough time in the day for a manager to teach every salesperson how to handle every possible situation that's going to come up. So what we end up doing, whether it's me as a third party coming into a dealership or it's a dealership personnel, the training is going to be general and theoretical because at that moment, you know, if you're teaching somebody how to respond to the customer who says, I want to think about it, I mean, you know, in real life, is that a 22-year-old buying their first car? Is that a 45-year-old with a husband and wife and 3 kids in tow, and the kids are yelling and screaming that they're hungry and want to go home? I mean, there's just a difference. You can't do it all in the classroom. So you teach the theoretical general then. But the place to role play and really hammer this home comes at the sales desk. Because, I'll give you an example. If I teach somebody in a classroom setting how to handle that objection, or if I teach them how to ask for down payment, or if I teach them the information that I want them to bring to me, so that I can do a really great job as a manager of putting together a deal that'll be palatable to the customer. In the classroom, I'm gonna teach them to find out why the customer's in the market right now, who the vehicle's for, why they choose our store. Is it really a car they definitely like to own? Do they live or work close to the dealership? Why are they replacing their car? All these questions that we teach them in the classroom to ask, because we tell them knowledge is power. But what happens so often is that gets undone at the sales desk because the poor salesperson who goes out and gets the information his manager told him in the classroom that morning he wanted to get comes in the afternoon, the manager is harried, he's spinning 3 hats, he gets a little impatient, and the poor salesperson says, okay, boss, I need a proposal on stock number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right. Listen, I found out why they're in the market, and if that manager says, hold on, I don't have time for that right now. Just tell me 3 things. Where do they want their payment, how much they're putting down, and are they buying today? What that guy just did was he completely cut the legs out of any training that was done. He undid it in a space of 10 seconds, and that salesperson won't ever get that information again because he knows what happens, or he thinks he knows what's going to happen if he comes to the desk and tries to deliver it. So the desk is the ideal time to be role-playing and reinforcing the classroom training. And the only other thing I guess I'll say about that is that here's how I think the role play literally should roll out, if you will.
Right.
We'll play on words. Is that I think that not only should you reinforce everything you've been teaching in the classroom, but I think here's an opportunity that before your sales person goes out and makes a presentation of figures to a customer who probably has different ideas about what he hopes the figures are going to look like, right? And before he goes out, and you wouldn't do this with every salesperson. I mean, if you've got the professional salesperson who's been in the business for a while, is motivated, energetic, understands, and does a great job for you. I'm not saying you do it for everybody.
Sure.
For anybody newer or for anybody who has been having some difficulties, what a great opportunity before you say, okay, here's the proposal, go get them, Tiger. What if you said, here's the proposal, now look at it for about 60 seconds and then turn around and present it to me like I'm the customer.
Wow. Nice.
Because now what happens is the practice, if you will, is going to be where it doesn't hurt anybody. It doesn't cost the dealership any money. If they're going to stub their toe, they're going to stub the toe with the manager. But most managers also know, that at least most good ones that I know of, know in advance 9 out of 10 times what objection the customer is going to have.
Sure.
If there's a trade involved, they know the customer is going to say, is that all you can give me for my trade? So why not say to your salesperson who goes through the presentation, why not say that? Why not say $5,200 for my car? You're out of your mind.
Right.
And then find out how he's going to respond to that. Because that's the role play I'm talking about. That's the specific example. That's how you take a theoretical and turn it into a practical, real world reinforcement of what you did in the classroom.
Wow, that's I heard you. It sounds like you probably have heard and used the quote that I'm about to say, but you said that most people think knowledge is power, but I like somebody I knew used to repeat it a lot, and I'm not sure who originally quoted it, but applied knowledge is power.
Yeah, that's absolutely right.
And
it's funny. It's funny you say that. Excuse me for interrupting.
No, go ahead.
I feel so strongly about what you said. It reminds me of something that has been just with me for a long time. I have a great deal of admiration for Dave Anderson, and I heard him say something earlier this year that I've used. I give him credit for it because everybody. He said it. He needs to get credit for it.
Sure.
But he said the biggest gap in business today is the difference between knowing and doing.
Wow.
We all know what to do. We know why we should be doing it, but doing it is totally different. That's kind of, in a roundabout way, what you're saying. Knowledge is power, but really the use of knowledge, applied knowledge is power. You're absolutely right.
That's right. Yeah, somebody used to tell me that, we used to always say, well, I hired this guy, he has such great potential. And I ran into, he's probably 80 years old, a friend of my family, guy's worth $200 million, retired now. But he used to always tell me when I was a little young boy, he said, you can't cash potential, you can't deposit it. So until they unlock it or use it, what good is it? And I tell you, man, that's some fascinating stuff. I actually anytime I talk to someone like you, David, and it just as a sales manager and trainer and someone who works and has a sales team, it just makes me really look at, and I love that about training, effective training. It challenges me, and it should challenge every dealer listening, because we should all want to get better. We all have something to learn, and what you just did, I've role played for years, but what you just did just gave me, just internally in my company, some ideas just of ways to deal with new salespeople. And just before I know you got to get running here in a minute, but I want to say this because this is something that I kind of threw in here. As I knew you were coming on, I know there's different styles, and you have such a great style, and I really love listening to you. What's your how effective do you feel? I know there's different high energy and motivational and practical, and I know everyone's different, but how effective are these styles? If you could touch on that, and because there's a lot of dealers, they don't know what to do when it comes to training. What do I do? Do I bring in this type of person? Do I use this type of person? Do I need a process? What have you? And there's so much out there. How effective do you feel like these styles are, and when and where are they effective? And let's I'm gonna give you a couple minutes to answer that, and then that'll be the last question. But just bring us home on that, if you would.
Okay. All right. Well, I think without question that each of those, in other words, motivational training certainly has a great place in what we do. In fact, I personally believe, and I'm certainly not the first one who said this, but I believe it with all my heart, is I would rather take a salesperson who has a fantastic attitude and high motivation, even if he didn't know a lot, and put him in front of the customer, instead of somebody who had great product knowledge and actually understood our sales process, but did everything without a smile, without any pep or zip, no energy, etc. Right. Because I just think that in the end, I think customers gravitate toward people who seem to be enjoying themselves, who seem to be passionate about what they're doing. So the first thing I would say is I think motivational training is extremely important, and I think that because motivation is one of those things that I don't care how good you are. I know in a couple of weeks you're going to have Grant Cardone on. Great speaker, love listening to Grant, nice guy, and certainly entertaining and motivational. But unless you have a Grant Cardone in your dealership every single day, then most people, they get motivated and psyched up and jacked up, and then it kind of fades away when real life slaps them in the face. So what I think what is more important is for each individual person to find out what motivates them and to become self-motivated. Right. It's easy to say, it's harder to do, but I do think it's that important. From the practical standpoint, in other words, is the practical application of training good? Absolutely. There has to be something that an individual salesperson can attach to. They have to be able to lock in on something, and if it's not practical, if they don't see it as useful, they'll discard it. I think all those things are valuable. I have people ask me all the time, what are the training methods? It's real simple. You either have it's either in person, and that's a dealership personnel or a third party like myself, or you can have DVD training, or you can have now online training. Now soon, I'm sure there will be other types of training. I mean, technology is increasing so incredibly fast. I don't know what next year will hold. And each of those has their place. I don't think there'll ever be a substitute for good in-person training, whether it's dealership personnel, as long as they're talented, skilled, and have the proper tools, or whether it's a third party. If you're bringing in a Grant Cardone or a David Kane or a Joe Verdi or somebody like that. That's always going to be great because it's live, it's interactive, etc. But it's inconvenient. I mean, you have to have schedules coordinated. You may have a half dozen people in your dealership that just have to be trained, and on the day you finally rearrange everything around the training. 3 of them are sick. 1 of them has a sick child, and and they're not there. Absolutely. You have the DVD training. That's good because it's property you own, and you can use it over and over and over again. The drawback, of course, is that once you buy it, you own it, and it'll never change. And if something in the business changes, whether it's simply something that got better or is no longer valid, then your DVDs aren't going to address that. So that brings us to the online training. That's my personal favorite right now, because the online training is something. I was in the production studio yesterday morning, and I did 8 new videos. 5 of them were brand new. 3 of them were redoing videos I'd done before because I decided I liked something better.
Right.
I came back from Australia, and after I was through speaking to them, the Australians are fantastic people. They're also awfully good car people. And I had somebody come up and say, "Hey, have you ever thought about this?" And he just blew me away. I went, "No, this is great." So I went in and I redid parts of some videos that we've already done. That's the benefit to the online. It's available whenever somebody else is available. It can change when it needs to be changed. You have the testing aspects, the accountability aspects. There's just so much. Each of them have their place, and it's not for me to tell a dealer what's the best for them. That's for them to decide, but they each have their place. The one thing I'll leave you with, and I say leave you, I don't have to go anywhere yet, but I will tell you this. I think every dealer or every manager in your audience needs to be aware of something, because they may not have thought about this, is that when the subject of training comes up, some say, yeah, I probably should, or some say, no, I'm fine, whatever. I don't care what they say. The fact is, their salespeople are being trained every single day. And they better ask themselves who's training, because it's either their customers, somebody who comes in with a chip on the shoulder, unrealistic expectations, and convinces or trains your salespeople that money's all that matters, or they're being trained by the veteran salespeople, the ones who've been with a dozen different dealerships, don't sell much, but they're willing to share their wisdom with anybody who'll listen, or it's got to be the dealer. I mean, but they better make up their mind who's training, because somebody's training those salespeople.
Somebody.
Yep.
Somebody's training. I totally agree with you. Well, David, I appreciate you coming on.
My pleasure.
And let me ask you, to put you on the spot. I mean, would you consider coming back and being on with us again?
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Oh, that's good. This is fun. I love doing this, and if you ever find yourself stuck because somebody bailed out on you, give me a call. If I'm around, I'll be happy to do it.
I appreciate that, David. And then before we let you off, just tell the folks, if there's dealers listening that would like to reach out to you. I know you can tweet him at Trainer Deluxe, but give us your website and the best way they can contact you if a dealer wants to reach out to you.
Well, thank you. I wasn't expecting that. Our toll-free number is 888-300-4629. In the off chance somebody grabbed the pen, I'll say it again, 888-300-4629. And our website is www.marqueegroup.com. And let me spell that. It's MarqueeGroup.com. Awesome. Marquee Group. That's actually the first 3 letters of my last name, Martin, and the first 3 letters of my partner's last name, Keeney. And that's how we came up with that incredibly wonderful name, Marquee.
That's awesome. That's awesome. It's a very catchy name. Well, David, I appreciate you being on the show. And
my pleasure.
Guys, you've been listening to David Martin, and we are going to be bringing David back on again. And you're listening to Auto Dealer Live. We're going to take a quick break, and don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back. And you're listening to Auto Dealer Live.
Thank you for joining us on Auto Dealer Live with your host, David Villa. If you are interested in staying motivated or bringing your sales process to the next level, we have put together Team Impact Sales Training, a weekly training video series free of cost that is updated weekly on thedealerhub.com, the fastest growing community of automotive dealers and industry professionals. Thank you for joining us on Auto Dealer Live with your host, David Villa. If you are interested in staying motivated or bringing your sales process to the next level, we have put together Team Impact Sales Training, a weekly training video series free of cost that is updated weekly on thedealerhub.com, the fastest growing community of automotive dealers and industry professionals. Thank you for joining.
And we're back.
This is Dave Villa. We're back, and we're going to be wrapping the show up here. Just a couple of quick announcements. Don't miss October 31. What is October 31? The one, the only, Mr. Grant Cardone will be with us. We've got some outstanding dealers. We got GSMs, we got GMs, we got salesmen. We have owners, dealer principals that are going to be on the show. We have some high-level executives and dealer groups that are going to be on the show. So Grant's going to be fielding their questions. We got some very special guests that day. You don't want to miss it. But the most special, and I'm excited about, is is Grant Cardone that day because he is going to be bringing his wealth of knowledge in to this arena. We're going to be giving away 20 of Grant's book, Sell to Survive, hand signed by Grant Cardone, and has the audio companion. You don't want to miss that show. Tweet us, #AutoDealerLive, #AutoDealerLive, and don't miss next week's show, Fire and Ice. Thank you to Dave Martin for being on the show. Before we go, I want to just leave you with something that I did in a video training. If you haven't seen it, go to the Dealer Hub, which is our blog site and our social site, thedealerhub.com, and become a member. If you're listening, you need to be a member of the Dealer Hub. What's that?
All one word.
All one word. Thedealerhub.com, as opposed to
3 words.
Many words. I don't know if there's such thing as a website.
Yeah,
I think everything.
All the time. They use spaces in websites.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I learn some every day. I think, Martin, you might be wrong.
I am
I think that the spaces might.
As they say.
Anyway,
It says radio.
thedealerhub.com, all one word, or if I sound stupid right now, just thedealerhub.com and the spaces will disappear. Go to the Dealer Hub, and something I want to leave you with, though, is a Team Impact sales training that I did. We just aired the first part of 3 this week, a couple days ago, and the lessons on striving or struggling. And I want to leave you with that thought. I want you to ask yourself that. You go watch the video. It's about 15 minutes tops. There's going to be 2 other parts coming on. It's SOS. That's the name of the series. Why SOS? SOS is it's a distress call. It's urgent. Yes, it's urgent. There's an emergency. The emergency is your success, and whether or not you hit it is on the line. And you've got to do something about it. If you're struggling and you think you're striving, hear me. If you're struggling and you think you're striving, then you need to get a hold of this SOS. Struggling, S, or striving, S. SOS. First part of 3. And real quick, striving and struggling, look up the definitions. Both of them are so similar. In my life, in my sales career, my family, and everything I've done, anything of significance, anything of value, I have gone through seasons, Martin, where I thought I was striving, and yet I was struggling.
Right.
They're so fine of a line.
Yeah.
Tired and frustrated, or tired and accomplished. Tired is the key, the common denominator there. But are you frustrated or are you accomplished? There's a difference. You can be tired, go home, go to bed, be exhausted, but are you tired and accomplished or tired and frustrated? One picture I'm going to leave. Watch the video, thedealerhub.com, SOS, under David Villa, and it's striving or struggling. The thing I want to leave you with in the picture is this. Both of them are so similar in definition. Both of them require effort. The picture I want you to get, picture the little mouse. The little mouse in a 10-gallon aquarium.
Okay.
And you got him in the aquarium. Here's the glass. You put a piece of cheese right here. Here's the mouse. Right here's the hamster wheel. That mouse jumps on the hamster wheel going after that cheese. Just 1,000 miles an hour. He's moving. He's exerting effort. There's the cheese on the other side. He ain't getting to that cheese.
Yeah.
I'll say grammatically incorrect. He ain't getting that cheese. No matter how hard he tries, because I don't know mouse that can climb glass.
Right.
Okay? That's just plain mean, all right? But that's what we do to ourselves. We spin our wheels, so to speak, never getting that cheese. Listen to this now. Take the same piece of cheese, the same mouse, put them in a maze. Put the cheese at the finish and the mouse at the start.
Right.
All you do is change the circumstances, change the surroundings. Same cheese, same mouse. You can't get through that glass, but you can put that mouse. Now listen, tired, yeah, because he's going to go through that maze. It may be challenging. It may be difficult. He's going to be tired, but he can do it. And you've got to decide, am I struggling or am I striving?
Right.
I challenge you to figure out which one.
And some of your greatest victories come right at the point where you think you're going to have your greatest defeat as well,
point.
You know? I mean, it's
your breakthrough comes at your breaking
cusp.
point.
There you go.
Your breakthrough comes at your breaking point. You think you're about to break in half because you're bending. It's you either going to break down or break through.
Woo.
No, you can't steal that.
Come
You're
on
either
now.
going to break down or break through. Listen, I appreciate you being with us. Tweet us at #AutoDealerLive. We'd love to hear from you, hear your questions. This is Dave Villa. This is Martin Mounts.
Yes, sir.
And you've been listening to Dave Martin, Auto Dealer Live. Don't miss next week's show. Thank you. Have a good week.
Any company out there can sell you direct mail. But only at IPD does your direct mail become intelligent. We have revolutionized automotive direct mail by implementing today's cutting-edge tracking and response technology. However, to simply stop there is just not smart. Introducing Smart Mail 2.0. With our Smart Mail 2.0, we begin with a phone call the day before your mail is to be delivered to give top-of-mind awareness so that they will be on the lookout for it. The next day, when your mail arrives and is opened, they will see that they have a variety of different ways to contact us. With our smart components, we have set up your mailer to maximize a response. You have the 24/7 toll-free number, personalized URL, texting, select mail, and QR code. We also have our program's Right Track. IPD's Right Track program revolutionized the credit mail industry. We have launched a department that will take every person that isn't able to purchase a vehicle through our Equifax Smart Mail program and assist them in rebuilding, repairing, and restoring their credit. Within a few short weeks, they will be sent back into your dealership with the ability to purchase the Also, we have Social Frenzy. IPD's latest smart component is taking automotive direct mail to a whole new level. We prompt every person that responds to like and then share your dealership's Facebook page. That's right, we incentivize your mail recipient to share your page with their friends. We upload a customized video and banner page to your Facebook, and our BDC then drives traffic to your page using the very friends of your potential customers. It begins with the mail responders, and before you know it, becomes a social frenzy, reaching thousands with your page. We also have our Second Win mailer, which takes that letter sent out 2 weeks after the initial mailer hits home to give that person a second chance to come in. IPD has one of the most advanced automotive call centers that specialize in converting calls, emails, and texts into credit applications. With all the leads that turn into appointments scheduled, that will lead to more ups and a better chance to increase your sales and ROI. Your appointment shows up with his mailer or Second Win offer ready to talk to you about a car. Once the specifics are all finalized, you have a happy and satisfied customer, and so is your month. Smart Mail 2.0, 70% technology, 30% mail created specifically to maximize your ability to sell cars.
Get smart!
Any company out there can sell